So welcome to yet another video on Python. This time we're going to talk about concatenation of data frames, and this is one of the ways to join two or more data frames together. There are a few other methods which we'll cover in subsequent videos. So hi, this is Manu from Claymetrics Data Labs, and let's begin. So concatenation has the following format where over here PD is your alias for the pandas data frame, then the keyword concat, and then this is the format. Don't worry about the complex structure of this. We will get rid of most of it, and in most of the generic scenarios you will just need the following formula, right? So before we go about discussing concatenation, let's quickly remember or recollect what X is meant for data frame. So X is 0 and X is 1 along the rows and columns, if you remember from the previous video. So over here in this case I'm creating a data frame df12 and I'm using the concat method of pandas for concatenation of the two data frames df1 and df2, right? Now this df1 and df2 have to be passed within the square bracket, which means as a list. So the data frames are being passed as a list, or this list contains different data frames. So that's how it is done. And if I don't specify the x's over here, the default is x is 0. So let's see how it behaves. So if this is the data frame 1 and it has columns C1, C2 and C3 and rows R1, R2, R3 with these elements, and this is the data frame 2 with the column C1 and C2 highlighted in yellow because they're common in both the cases, and C4, and then rows are R4, R5 and R6, and these are the elements. Note the colors also over here. So if we concatenate these two using this formula, which is that x is equal to 0, so we get the following output. Now if you note, the output df12 which is a data frame again, contains the common columns C1 and C2, and rows are being put one over the other, right? Stacked in a way, one over the other. And the ones which do not match, like C4 is missing in df1, so there is no value corresponding to that, and when there is no value, it comes out as nan, right? We'll discuss what nan is sometime later. And then likewise C3 is not available in this case, so that's why I'm getting these orange nan. So you see how this behaves when you see x is equal, when you say x is equal to, so you see how it behaves when you say x is equal to 0. Likewise, let's talk about concat when we say x is 1. So same thing, df12 pandas concat, passing df1 and df2 as list. This time we pass x is equal to 1. Now if you note the data frame 1 and data frame 2, you see when you merge it together, so C1, C2, C3 are available here, C4, C5, C6, so like this, and row R1, R2, R3 and R4. R1 and R2 are common, so you see how it is getting structured. You get the output in which the columns are put left to right, right? So from this is from first data frame and this is from the second one. So you're getting the data stacked left to right, unlike x is equal to 0 where it was being put one over the other. So let's proceed to our coding window and see how we can use concatenation. So over here we are using concatenation, and first and foremost, because we need to have data frame, we need to import pandas library, so which is what we're doing here, and then we're creating df1 data frame using a dictionary, right? If you remember how we discussed creating data frames using dictionary list and how to create data frame from dictionary, do check out the video on the same topic. Then we have df2 and df3, so and df4 as well, right? So let's first run this and see how our data frame are structured: df1, df2, df3 and df4. And if we see, we have created a list named frames, wherein we are putting these data frames together in a list, right? So what happens because of this is they get clubbed together in a list. They are not merged yet, but we are passing these data frames into this library, into this list. Now, this obviously is how you write the concat statement, but this is just a comment just to show you how it is written. So let's first take the first basic example. We want to concatenate data frame 1, 2, 3 without passing any access. So that's why I've written df123 underscore no access. This is a data frame, and this data frame is being generated by concatenating the frames list. And what is in the frames? If you see above the code above, you will see or note that frames is basically a list of data frames 1, 2, 3. And if we want, we can just write this list inside here also, right? But I mean, it's better to write this way because it looks more structured. So let's run the code up till here, and we get a new data frame. Let's check that, which is over here, right? This one. So if you note, we have concatenated without passing any access. So that's why they get stacked one over the other, right? So if you note df1 and df2, so this one up till row 3 is coming from df1, and then since there is no z column here, but z is in df2, so that's why it's not nan. It's an nan actually, which means missing values. Likewise, the second one df2, this one a b c, so the values are coming here, the missing column is showing nan, and so on and so forth for rest. So this is how you concatenate once you pass the values without any access in the concat statement. Now if I say x is equal to 0, this is going to yield the same result, because if I say x is 0, or don't say, they both mean the same thing. So I'm not going there. Now next one is when I say x is 1, so if I put x is 1, so I get this data frame. And if I look at this, so you see how it is structured. Let me just show you df1 and df2. So if you see, your data frames are now concatenated using x is equal to 1, which means your output would be placed, one second, the output would be placed left to right, right? The columns would be joined or concatenated left to right. So if you see, this is coming from the first data frame df1 all the way up till d, right? This one, and then second one, this a4 and b4, this is coming here, right? So this is getting stacked to the corresponding row number, right? Corresponding row number. Now if you see the other data frame, let's say data frame 3, so you see in data frame 3 the rows are 8, 9, 10, 11, right? Which are not there in rest of the data frame, right? So 8, 9, 10, 11, they get created separately, and then the corresponding value gets added here. So that's how concatenation works when you say x is equal to 1. You can also pass concatenation like this, specifying the keys. When you use it like this, let me get rid of this. So when you use the keys keyword like this, so what happens is we get a new column which specify that data is which row or which column is coming from which data, right? For example, if I you see this one, so it's specifying that this data is coming from df1, this is from df2, and this is from df3. It's a good way to also keep a record of where your data is coming from. Very helpful in merging out. So that's all in pandas data frame concatenation. If you like our video, please like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more in Python and data science. Thank you so much. This is Manu.